Hi everyone, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be looking at the Roland VS880. There's a few videos on this machine around, and not so many because it is old. I mean, we're talking 26, 27 years ago this thing came out. But it's digital recording at 441 megahertz. You're going to get some great quality sounds from it, from the machine. However, they are old. You can pick these things up for anywhere between £50, £100, £150, depending on the exact model that you're going for and the condition of it. But there's some bargains to be had, and I've got one right here. This one was a £35 special from eBay. It didn't work. Well, it didn't work properly. It functioned, but the master fader didn't work. Track 6 didn't work, and the time value wheel, well, frankly, when I took it apart, it was snapped in half, so that needed to be replaced. So I set about looking at how to sort all this stuff out. If you get into this, you're going to be trawling around through a great resource, which is VS Planet, and you'll eventually find that, yeah, you can replace those faders, and I did. So that's this one. If you can see that, I'm going to hold that up to the camera. That's an original. That's an original from the VS that I took out. I think this was the master fader that came out of it. They're all the same. There's no difference between the 8 tracks and the master fader. Same type of pot potentiometer, slide potentiometer they call them, don't they? But I found these on eBay. I think I paid something like 15 quid for 10. I only needed to use 2. There was a recommendation to replace them all while you're at it. I thought, you know what? No, because I might find another one of these machines and maybe I could fix that as well. So here it is. They actually, and I'm sure this is probably hard for you to see, identical in size, dimension. The pins are exactly the same, so they slot straight into the PCB. The central tabs which lock into the PCB, you might have to bend those a little bit just to make sure that they're lined up properly, but just pop it in and solder it in. On the soldering point, I've no experience of doing this before, so you know, this was a real learning curve. I watched a few videos and get yourself some of this stuff. This is it's like a brass ribbon thing that when you can soak up the old solder, so that you don't got solder all over the place when you're removing the original thing. So anyway, that was in. What happened was, initially I had 0 master fader functionality. Track 6 wasn't working, and the master had actually jumped onto track 8. Just by replacing those 2 faders, now the master is doing its job. It's become the master again. Track 6 is working. Track 8 is now once again an independent track without actually doing anything further to it other than replacing 6 and master. The time value wheel, I went on eBay again, found one in Australia. Pretty rare thing to find, apparently. It's out of production, and I wanted to find one which had got the right connector on it. However, subsequently, as I'm reading a few things, it turns out that these things will break down occasionally. So I did find another one on the internet, and it is about 10 quid. So at some point, if this one gives up, or I find another machine that is repairing, I'll be using the connector and cable from the original one, soldering it up to this one. Now, the one that you're going to need to get, they're digital now, but I'm reliably told that they will work. If you know better, let me know in the comments. They've got a little tab as well, so there's a hole in the casing that locks the tab in so that you can't turn the potentiometer around on itself and then hence break the cables off, which is exactly what happened to the original one, because they didn't tighten it up, or someone had a look and didn't put it back together properly. Right, okay, now I've gone on a bit, haven't I? But screws, there are thousands of them. Well, there's not thousands of them, there's probably 50 screws, quite a lot. On the back alone there's quite a few screws. You don't need to, if you're going to get into this machine, you don't need to undo these 4. They hold the hard drive in place, which I've replaced as well with the CF card. Come on to that in a second. You don't need to undo that as well. That's an access point to get into the effects card. Whereas I think there was 3 different effects cards produced, which were on top of the value of these machines, because these were 1,500 quid, £1,450 when they were new. 35 quid, and it's functioning now, and it sounds ace, I tell you. It's got its limitations, but if you're on a budget and you want to do some recording, you could do worse. You could certainly do worse. Right, so that done. Once you've taken all the screws out of the back, I'd recommend that you use something like a little baking tin that they used to make muffins with. put the different screws in, have a row of screws for first layer, which is the back, next row of indents for the screws for the next layer, which is going to be the motherboard. Undo the plugs. There's some plugs in there you undo. Once you've got them undone, undo the screws of that. There's then going to be a plate. Unscrew that plate. Then now you're at the control board where the faders are. You're going to need to remove that, take that out, and then you can operate with that completely separate to the machine. You put it all back together again in the reverse order that you took it apart. I've never done this before, or anything like this before, so it was a learning curve, and I did it. If I could do it, you could do it. Next thing I saw on there, I thought, people say, no, it's got a very small memory, 500 megabytes or something like that, I think it was, as a hard drive. You can get these for £3 on eBay, and that's an IDE to CF card reader. Then, what you need is a CF card. That's £7 on eBay. And it's a CF1, I think, or a CF1 stroke 2. I didn't really research that. I just bought the cheapest new CF card I could find, and it works fine. And it's got like 500 minutes of recording time in the machine now. Once you put that in, it'll switch the machine on. Once you put it all back together, it'll take the power out before you do anything. Right? Never get inside this machine if you've got the power cable attached. Where was I? Oh yes, CF card. Okay, so once you put it in there, it'll be searching for drive. It'll identify something, and you just basically keep pressing yes, 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 yes. Then it'll say loading song, load song, yes, loading song, and you're done. You've done. You've converted it from a hard drive to a flash drive, CF reader. I have got plans to put a removable one in that mounts on the front, but I haven't got round to that yet. So if you're interested and you want to comment below, then if there's enough interest, then I will endeavour to have a go at that and show you my woes and failures or successes, however they may well be. Now, I hope this has been of some interest to you. Now, I haven't shown you photographs that we get into it, taking screws out. I understand that. It's fairly self-explanatory. If you don't feel confident in doing it, don't get involved. But if you see for sale a VS880 or 840 or 890 or a VS880EX, and we're talking, you know, 20, 30, 40 pounds, 50 pounds for a machine which maybe has got those sorts of faults, it's worth having a look at, because it's quite rewarding to get it done, and the sounds it produces aren't too bad. In fact, I transferred stuff onto a DAW. Let's get this up. Which one are we going to play? This one. I don't know how well that sounds coming out. This was done on the VS80. It's only 2 track channels out, so it's a mix down on the VS80, straight into the DAW, on the DAW, put it where you want. Put compression on it, add more tracks, whatever you like. But there we go. Works. No copyright on that, by the way, because that's me. Well, my copyright. Took me longer to find the pause button than it did to write it. Anyway, look guys and gals, hope you found it of interest. If you want any more of this, then I can do reviews on vintage guitars, pedals, repairs. I repaired an SR16 machine, drum machine after this. I can show you a little bit about that and where to get the spares from. How to do it on a budget. Keep rocking. Cheers chaps and chappesses.